March 2021. James Thompson is sitting in his rented apartment in Austin, Texas. Scrolling through Instagram, his former high school classmate posted a photo of a new Tesla Model S. James feels that familiar burning sensation somewhere between his ribs. 3 years later, his account balance reads $4,247,000. Lottery? No. An inheritance from a distant relative? No. Cryptocurrency at the right moment? Also no. James did what psychologists consider dangerous. What most people spend their entire lives trying to suppress inside themselves. What gets you judged at family dinners. He stopped fighting his envy and turned it into a financial compass. The next 24 minutes will shatter everything you've been told about this emotion. You'll understand why envy isn't a moral failing, but a biological radar for unmet needs. How to tell your true desires apart from the ones advertising drilled into you. And why a person earning $500,000 a year can feel more miserable than someone making $60,000. One tool from this video changed the lives of over 300 people. But first, the real story. James is 36 then, a marketer at a mid-tier IT company. Salary $78,000 a year, slightly above the Texas median. Not poverty but not luxury either. Married for 8 years. 2 kids, 6 and 4 years old. A mortgage on a suburban house, a Honda minivan, his wife's remaining student loan debt, $23,000. Typical middle class. Typical problem. Every time he opens social media, someone is showcasing a new level of life. An $800,000 lake house. A Porsche Cayenne in the driveway. The Maldives business class. Champagne at sunset. Meanwhile, James has been saving for 3 years to buy a used Honda Accord to replace his falling-apart minivan. Envy eats away at him from the inside, like acid. Slow but relentless. He tries the standard remedies. A gratitude journal every morning, 3 things he's thankful for. Meditation 20 minutes after waking up. A digital detox. Deletes Instagram for a month. Nothing changes, because he's fighting the smoke, not the fire. The psychologist James books an appointment with in desperation asks just one question. That question flips everything. In a minute, you'll know what it is because 90% of people never ask themselves this, even on their deathbed. But first, you need to understand, where does envy even come from? And why trying to bury it leads to financial self-sabotage. Envy wasn't born on Instagram, not in capitalist society. Not even in the times of the Roman Empire with its gladiators and patricians. It was etched into your brain 200,000 years ago. The savannah. 2 hunters from the same tribe. The first one has a sharper stone axe. He kills more antelope. Gets a bigger share of the meat. More respect from the chief. Better chances of passing on his genes. The second hunter watches. Feels envy. This isn't a choice. Not a moral decision. It's a signal from the amygdala. You're losing the competition for resources. Your survival is threatened. Act or disappear. David Buss, an American evolutionary psychologist from the University of Texas at Austin, one of the founders of evolutionary psychology. In a massive cross-cultural study covering 10,047 participants from 37 cultures, he showed that competitive emotions, envy, jealousy, the drive for resources, manifest identically in every society. As he writes, envy likely played an important role in human struggle for resources necessary for survival and reproduction throughout evolutionary history. Regardless of upbringing, religion, or income level, the mechanism is the same. Envy is neutral, like hunger, like thirst, like the pain from a burn. White envy, when you're happy for someone else's success and feel motivated yourself. Black envy, when you secretly wish for their failure. Heard that? Sure. Except academic psychology doesn't have such a clear division. There's envy. One single emotion. What you do with it next, that's your choice. But the initial feeling is identical. 2 neighbors in Denver watch a third buy a $95,000 Tesla. The first thinks, good for you, Mike. I want an electric car too. I'll start saving $400 a month. The second thinks to himself, he probably leased it for 7 years. Or daddy helped him out. Just showing off. Both felt the same pang. Both registered someone else's superiority. The difference is in the reaction. The first used envy as an indicator of desire. The second used it as a painkiller for his self-esteem. This is where the disaster begins. Your neighbor bought a Tesla. You're envious. Imagine you take out a $92,000 auto loan.
Monthly payment $1,400.
Insurance, another $280. Home charging station, $1,200 for installation. The first 2 months, euphoria. You drive to work and catch people staring. Someone points. Someone takes a photo. 6 months later, realization hits. You didn't need a Tesla. You needed the feeling of success. Recognition. Proof to yourself and others that you're also worth something. This is called need substitution. Consumer behavior research shows a consistent pattern. Purchases motivated by external status display bring the least satisfaction. Cars, houses in prestigious neighborhoods, designer accessories, everything bought to show off rather than for yourself, quickly loses its emotional value. You wanted a comfortable car. You bought status on wheels. You wanted a cozy home. You bought an address for business cards. He just got lucky with an investor. She married well. He's definitely shady. Their parents paid for everything. Sound familiar? This is a psychological defense mechanism. When you devalue someone else's success, you protect your self-esteem. The logic is simple. If he achieved it dishonestly, then I didn't lose, I'm just more honest. The price of this protection. The energy of envy doesn't disappear. It transforms into chronic cynicism. You start looking for dirt in every successful person. The rich are all crooks. Millionaires exploit the poor. The system is built on deceit. The problem? You're programming your own subconscious to reject wealth. Some psychologists describe this as a kind of financial autoimmune reaction. You attack your own chances of getting rich because wealth is associated with bad people. The result? You sabotage yourself. You don't ask for a raise. Don't want to be greedy. You avoid risky investments. That's for sharks. You don't start a business. I won't exploit people. Poverty becomes a moral virtue, and envy becomes your jailer. James was stuck in all three traps simultaneously. He devalued his classmates. Their parents helped them. He copied others' goals. He'd already filled out a loan application for a BMW 5 Series to keep up, and he sincerely believed that meditation and positive thinking would cure his envy. Until the psychologist asked that question. James, what exactly are you envious of? The car, or what it symbolizes? A simple phrasing. But the answer opened a door James hadn't looked behind for 36 years. James falls silent. For a minute he stares out the window. The car? No. I like my Honda. Reliable. Good gas mileage. Easy to park. Then what? A pause. Another 30 seconds. Freedom. The ability not to check my balance before every purchase. Like right now, I want to buy my son a $120 pair of sneakers, and I spend a week thinking about whether we can afford it or not. But that guy just buys a Tesla, like it's a notebook. The psychologist nods. So you don't need a Tesla. You need financial freedom and confidence in tomorrow. Click. The focus shifts. If you chase the car, you'll buy it on credit, the payment will eat 20% of your income, your anxiety will triple. If you chase the wealth, you'll start investing, growing professionally, building assets, getting closer to real freedom. One feeling of envy. Two completely opposite outcomes. One leads to a pit, the other to millions. But the psychologist digs deeper. James, tell me about your typical workday. I wake up at 6. Skip the gym, no time. Breakfast on the go. Work from 8 to 6, sometimes until 7. Evenings with the kids, dinner, bedtime.
But he collapses.
How do you feel? James thinks. Tired. But mainly not good enough. Every day I wake up thinking, I could have done more. Worked more efficiently. Earned more. Been more useful to the company. Like my colleague Mark closes 15% more deals. Why can't I do the same? You work about 50 hours a week? Yes. You save 15% of your salary? Yes. You help your wife with the kids? Of course. And you still feel you're not doing enough? Silence. This is called burnout. And here's what few people understand. The main cause of burnout isn't a toxic boss. Not deadlines. Not overtime. The main cause is the inner critic. That voice in your head whispering, "You're not productive enough. Not valuable enough. Not good enough." Psychotherapist Christopher Germer from Harvard Medical School, author of The Mindful Path to Self-Compassion, has studied this mechanism for decades. He describes the inner critic as a voice absorbed from our environment, the belief that a person's worth equals their productivity. How much you earned, how much you achieved, how useful you are to society. This voice whispers, "Not enough. You work harder." The voice, "Still not enough. You sacrifice sleep." The voice, "Others work even more. There is no finish line. Satisfaction is impossible." An extreme form of this mechanism is South Korea, one of the hardest working nations on the planet. A cult of productivity, a cult of achievement, a cult of external success. Simultaneously, the country consistently ranks first in suicide rates among all OECD countries. The latest comparable data from 2022 showed 23.2 cases per 100,000 population, more than double the OECD average of 10.7. And according to national statistics, the numbers are even more stark. In 2024, the rate reached 28.3 per 100,000. In 2025, suicide became the #1 cause of death among Koreans aged 40 to 49, surpassing cancer. The high level of social pressure, generated by the country's competitive and success-oriented culture, is considered one of the key factors. Those who struggled with suicidal thoughts cited among the reasons societal pressure to achieve success, isolation, and feelings of worthlessness. Work more, earn more, become happier. The formula is broken, because more has no ceiling. Where did you get these beliefs? The psychologist asks. James remembers. He grew up in a middle-class family. His father was a construction foreman. His mother, a clinic administrator. They lived comfortably until 2008. Then the crisis hit. His father was laid off. The construction company went bankrupt. His mother's salary was cut in half. James was 14 then. For 2 years, the family teetered on the edge. His father repeated like a mantra, "Keep your head down. Save every penny. Wealth is either luck or a scam. Honest people live modestly." His mother added, "Investing is gambling. Only cash in the bank is safe." James, 14 years old. These phrases are seared into his subconscious like a hot brand. Psychologists call such beliefs introjects, beliefs you swallowed whole from authoritative adults without digesting or checking their validity. James's introjects: money is easily lost. Keep it as dead weight. Taking risks is a path to ruin. Investments are a scam for the gullible. The rich are greedy and heartless. The result at 36? $28,000 in a savings account earning 0.5% annually. Inflation was 4.7% in 2021. Real return, minus 4.2% for the year. He was losing money trying to save it. That same evening, James comes home. His wife Sarah is making dinner. The kids are playing in the living room. James says, "I signed up for an investing course."
$600.
Sarah turns around. The knife freezes over the cutting board. "Investing? James, we have a loan to pay off. The car is falling apart. And you want to spend $600 on some course. It's an investment in our future. It's throwing money away. Remember our neighbor Dan? He got into stocks in 2008. Lost 40,000. Silence. James realizes he's not just fighting his own fears. He's fighting the introjects of 2 families, his parents and Sarah's parents. And then he realizes something else, something frightening. He's not envious of his classmates with the Tesla. He's envious of the version of himself he never became, the brave one, the one who takes risks, free from other people's voices. The envy is directed inward, at his own unrealized potential. The psychologist later calls this auto-envy. the most painful form, because there's no escape. You are both the victim and the perpetrator. But it also becomes the turning point. At the next session, the psychologist gives homework. Take a sheet of paper, or open a note on your phone. Doesn't matter. The structure is key. James takes out his phone. Next time you feel envy, stop. Ask yourself 7 questions. Write down the answers. The psychologist dictates. James types. Question 1. Who am I envious of? Name, context. 2. Of what specifically? Not success in general. The specific object. A car? A position? A house? A skill? 3. What need of mine does this fulfill?
Dig deeper.
Security? Recognition? Freedom? Comfort? For the most honest one. Is this my need, or was it drilled into me? Advertising? Parents? Instagram? 5. How can I fulfill this need in my own way, without copying someone else's path? 6. What's the first step? Not a grand plan, one action for this week. 7. When? A specific date. James tries it right away. He thinks of Mark, the colleague who closes more deals. He writes down the answers one by one. He gets to the 5th question, how in my own way? And understands, he doesn't need to compete with Mark in sales. He needs financial freedom, and that can be achieved through investing and skill development, not by squeezing out an extra 5% commission. The psychologist looks at the phone screen. See? Envy has gone from enemy to advisor. It showed you your true goal. James feels a strange sense of relief. For the first time in 10 years, envy doesn't burn. It guides. But the problem of the inner critic remains. You're not good enough. You haven't achieved much. You're mediocre. The psychologist offers a second tool. An achievement log. 7 life categories. In each, a list of specific wins from the last 10 years. Health. Ran his first 5 kilometers without stopping in 2017. Lost 9 kilograms in 2019. Quit smoking in 2020. Completed a full checkup with no issues in 2022. Career. Got a promotion in 2019. Completed Google Ads certification in 2021. Increased a key client's conversion rate by 34% in 2023. Spoke at an industry conference in 2023. Finances. Paid off his car loan early in 2018. Saved his first $10,000 in 2020. Opened a Roth IRA in 2021. Paid off 40% of his wife's student debt in 2023. Relationships. Got married in 2013. Became a father twice in 2015 and 2017. Helped his brother with a move in 2019. Organized his parents' anniversary party in 2022. Skills. Learned Python basics in 2020. Read 47 books in 2021. Learned to cook 5 new dishes in 2022. Mastered Excel at an advanced level in 2023. Hobbies. Built a vinyl collection of over 30 records from 2018 to 2024. Ran a half marathon in 2021. Built a treehouse for the kids in 2023. Helping others. Volunteered at a shelter for over 20 hours in 2020. Mentored an intern at work in 2022. Donated a total of $1,200 to charity from 2021 to 2024. Total, over 140 specific achievements. When the inner critic attacks, you haven't accomplished anything. James opens the log. He reads it, out loud. The critic falls silent. Why does this work? A meta-analysis of 62 studies involving 26,427 people showed a significant inverse relationship between gratitude practices and depression. People who regularly record their achievements and gratitudes demonstrate improved mental health and reduced symptoms of anxiety and depression. The brain can't argue with concrete facts. A list of 140 wins shatters the "I'm a failure" illusion completely. James makes a radical decision. He deletes Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn from his phone. Completely. He only keeps access via computer. He checks them once a week, Saturday mornings, for 20 minutes strictly by timer. Why is this crucial? Social media algorithms show you the best moments of other people's lives around the clock. Colleague's new car, a friend's vacation in Santorini, an acquaintance's promotion, a classmate's perfect family against an ocean sunset. You see the highlight reel, a carefully selected 1% of someone else's life, and you compare it to your gray everyday routine. Washing dishes, stuck in traffic on Interstate 35, a $340 electricity bill. A fair comparison is impossible from the start. The largest randomized study on this topic, the work of Hunt Olcott, Matthew Jensko, and colleagues, published as an NBR working paper, involved over 35,000 users who were randomly assigned to deactivate Facebook or Instagram for up to 6 weeks. The result? Deactivating Facebook led to an improvement of 0.06 standard deviations in the Emotional Well-Being Index, and Instagram 0.041. In plain terms, a 6-week break increased happiness levels by about 6% for Facebook and 4% for Instagram, which is equivalent to 15 to 22% of the effect of full cognitive behavioral therapy, for free, without a therapist, just by turning off the app. The strongest effect was seen in middle-aged users for Facebook and young women for Instagram. James notices changes within 10 days. Calmness, focus, energy stops leaking into endless comparisons with digital storefronts. James notices something strange. He doesn't envy Warren Buffett, even though his net worth is estimated at $146 to $151 billion. Why? Buffett still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He drives an old car. He eats breakfast at McDonald's. On January 1, 2026, he officially retired, handing over management of Berkshire Hathaway to his successor, Greg Abel. And the bulk of his fortune, Buffett plans to transfer to the charitable foundations of his 3 children. He doesn't provoke envy in others. He gives. He shares. He helps. Now compare that to millionaire bloggers.
Mention tour.
Rolex collections. Private jets. The comments under their videos are nothing but bile and hatred. Biologically, someone else's success is perceived as a threat to your status. But if the person is generous, the threat disappears. Gratitude remains. James starts a blog about personal finance.
No boasting.
No showing off. He shares his mistakes, his spreadsheets, his tools. People write, "Thank you for showing the real journey, not a polished picture." The paradox. The less he flaunts, the more people are drawn to him. After a year, the blog brings in its first $400 from ads. After 2, $1,200 a month. After 3, $2,500. Extra income. But the main thing is a new identity. He's no longer a consumer of others' successes. He's a creator of value. March 2024. Exactly 3 years after that Tesla photo in his Instagram feed. James sits at the same kitchen table in the same house. The same Honda Accord sits in the driveway. The same Austin suburb outside the window. But on his brokerage app screen, the balance reads $4,247,380. $4,247,000. How? He stopped copying. He started decoding. He used envy not as an emotion but as a sensor. Each pang of envy became a question. What need of mine is going unmet? The concrete actions. He invested 35% of his income into index funds, the S&P 500 total market. He changed jobs twice, from 78,000 to 105,000. Then to 145,000 annually. He started a side hustle, consulting on PPC advertising, bringing in an extra 4,000 to 6,000 a month. He completed 3 advanced certifications. He maintained his finance blog, another 2,500 a month. He learned to say no to toxic projects. But most importantly, he stopped feeling envy towards his former classmates. Not because he suppressed it, but because he understood his own true goals, and he moves towards them every single day. Remember this, envy is not a moral defect. It's a sensor indicating a mismatch between what you have and what you truly want. The problem isn't the emotion. The problem is the 3 fatal mistakes. Mistake 1, masking. You devalue others' success. They got lucky. Instead of analyzing your own desires. Mistake 2, copying. You chase others' goals, Tesla, mansion, Rolex, instead of seeking your own true needs. Mistake 3, suppression. You try not to envy through meditation and affirmations, instead of decoding the biological signal. The correct algorithm: feel envy, stop. Question: of what exactly? Question: what need of mine does this fulfill? Question: is this mine or imposed? Find your own path. Envy transforms from poison into a navigation system. Here's something interesting. Right now, think of someone you've envied this week. Don't lie to yourself. Everyone feels envy. It's biology, not a sin. Maybe a colleague got a raise. Maybe a neighbor got a new car. Maybe a friend posted a photo of their renovation. Ask yourself, what am I really envious of? The thing? Then you probably don't need it. It's something advertising imposed. The state of being? Then that's your true need. Find your own path to it. And now, write in the comments, what state of being are you striving for? Freedom? Security? Recognition? Comfort? Self-fulfillment? No judgment. These are just data points. But this data is more valuable than any finance course. Remember, the same house, the same Honda, but $4,247,000 in the account. The difference isn't in circumstances. The difference is in how you read your envy. If this video changed your perspective, hit like. The algorithm will show it to someone who is struggling with this emotion right now. Want more deep dives into financial psychology without fluff or motivational hype? Subscribe. Take care of yourselves. And stop fighting your envy. Learn to read it.